right, YouTubers. In today's video, I got a little review. Maybe this will help somebody out decide on whether they want to purchase this, and just some helpful little tips. So I purchased the Trailer Aid. I actually bought this a while back, but I decided to do a video on it because I recently was checking my my bearings and hubs. So basically, this is just a device. If you have a tandem axle, and I think even a triple axle, but I think mostly tandem axle trailer, you can get one of the tires up in the air without having to use a jack. So you don't have to worry about a jack. You don't have to worry about if you're on level ground. You don't have to worry about if the ground is dirt or whatever, or gravel, you know. And it's really safe, and it's pretty fast to get it up off the ground, so you can change your tire, service your bearings, change your brakes, whatever you got to do. So when I go out fishing, I carry one of these with me in case I have a flat or a hub blowout or something where I have to remove my tire or hub or something. So this is what it looks like. I think this is they make two models, you know, the deluxe one or whatever they call it. It comes with this pad, and I think it's rated a little heavier weight. So this thing is rated for, it has it here on the label, 15,000 pounds. And there's a little diagram showing you how it works. You pretty much drive up it, and it ends up lifting the opposite tire on the same side. So whatever tire has the flat, you put it on the opposite side. So if you got to do your front, if your rear has your flat, then you're going to move this to the front, drive forward. If the front has the flat, you're going to put this to the rear and you're going to reverse. So basically, that's how it works. You drive up, it sits in this little cradle, and then the tire in the front or to the rear on the same side is up off the ground about 2 inches. And I'm going to have a little video showing how to do that, and it'll actually show you how much it actually clears. Couple of pointers if you're going to get one of these. Or some guys, they just use like a big 4x6 block and they cut it. You know, you can get a 4x6 piece of lumber and you can cut it so there's a little bit of a slope and then comes up. Just with the price of wood right now, you know, I think unless you got some wood laying around or you want to bolt together some 2x4s or something, I mean, it may be worth it for you to go that route. I just wanted something a little cleaner. You know, I didn't have to do anything with it. I didn't have to like worry about the wood or anything. This does have a pretty hefty weight capacity. And I do like how it has a little cradle here versus the wood, which would just be flat. It's relatively inexpensive. It's going to cost you almost the same as if you went out and bought the wood. I think this is like 40-something bucks on Amazon. So just two things that I would recommend if you're going to use this. So first thing, if your trailer has brakes, if your tandem axle trailer has brakes, which most do, but if yours does, make sure you have your surge brakes off. So on my trailer, there's a little metal piece that you put into this slot, and that basically deactivates my trailer if I'm going into reverse. I do have a actuator that it's supposed to disable the brakes in reverse, and it does that if I'm backing down the ramp to launch my boat. But because this thing is so steep and it's kind of forceful and you're really pushing up against, my actuator does not activate for it. You know, I still have to disable it. Otherwise, I'm dragging my brakes up. So disable your brakes. If you have a device on your trailer to, like either like a pin or a little D-shaped slot, you put it in there, you slip it in there, and then it prevents the surge brake from pushing back and activating your actuator and pumping the fluid back to the brake pads. But so make sure your brakes are disabled when you're reversing, or that's if you're reversing. If you're driving, then it doesn't matter if you're driving up it. But if you're going to reverse up to change your front, so that's only if you're reversing. The other thing I would recommend is I would get a piece of wood, you know, like a little 1x5 or 1x6 or whatever, I don't know what they sell, and just have it right here. And I'm going to actually show you what I'm talking about. So I actually have a cut piece of wood. It's just some scrap wood I had laying around in my garage. And I put it right here. Right here. So it's this piece of wood that comes up right here and it stops right there. And the reason why I recommend that is with this thing, it's real easy to come up here because this is a short distance. This is about maybe 10 inches, you know. It's real easy to come up here, and then if you're not paying attention, you don't have somebody spotting, or you gas a little too much, what ends up happening is your trailer tire overshoots and it comes down and hits hard, and then now this thing is stuck in between your two tires. So you got one tire here, one tire here, and then you gotta kind of wedge it out or you gotta drive over it. So my advice is to get that scrap piece of wood. You're gonna cut it to length right here, and it's gonna act as a stopper. So when you do come up, your tire is gonna come up, it's gonna roll up, and it's gonna hit this piece of wood right there, boom, and it'll kind of stop. And it's gonna be wedging the wood between the tire and the ground. It's gonna be coming up like this. So that's my advice. I honestly think they should have made this thing longer. You know, if this thing was like an extra 3-4 inches and it had some kind of a, you know, like a hump or a stop, some kind of a stopper, like a ridge or something, that would have been a lot better. But I guess they made it this way so, you know, if you needed to, you could drive off either way. Maybe there was something stuck or there's something going on with your situation or whatever. At least they have it to where you could drive out. You could essentially go off this or this way. But get that piece of wood and put it right there. You do that, it works perfect. And so I'm gonna turn the camera off, and I'm actually gonna back my boat up, and I'm gonna drive up to show you what it looks like. And I'm gonna show you that piece of wood that acts as that stopper. If you overshoot this thing, like I said, you're gonna overshoot. If you overshoot this thing, your tire trailer is gonna come down. It's not hard, it's not gonna break anything, but it does come down kind of hard where you'll feel it and you'll hear it. So it does come down, it'll just boom, and then your rear tire will be here and your front tire will be here, and it'll be stuck right in between. And this thing for my boat is like the exact length distance between my two tires. So it gets stuck. So I have to basically, like if I'm reversing, I reverse up. If I overshot it, I come down. The next tire, I would have to do the same thing. I would have to reverse over the whole damn thing again because it would just get stuck in between the two tires. So if you have that stopper there, you don't have to worry about overshooting it. And this is not hard. I mean, you literally are going up this thing a few inches at a time. And then once you hit this position, the tire just quickly rolls a couple inches. And then so if you just feather that gas, I mean, you know, you got to really feather that gas in your brakes so that way you don't come down. It's not that hard. What I would advise is when you pick this up is just to, at home on your road somewhere safe, is just to hook up your boat to your vehicle. Make sure, you know, everything's hooked up properly and you got your safety cables on and all that stuff. And hook it up and just practice a couple of times driving up on this thing so you get the feel of it. You know, once you do it like 2 or 3 or 4 times, just driving up this thing, you kind of know how to creep up this thing without, you know, like I said, overshooting and coming over and going over the other way, and then you got to drive over it again. So once you do that, it's actually a piece of cake. I'm gonna pull my boat out, and I'm not gonna take apart my bearings or anything, or take apart my hubs. All I'm gonna do is just pull my boat out, drive up on it, and I'm just gonna kind of spin my tires, and I'm going to wiggle my tires. I just want to see if there's any play in any of the tires in the hubs, and I want to make sure the tires are quiet and they're not noisy when I spin them. So I'm just checking to see how my brakes are doing. So that's all I'm doing for today, and that's why I decided to make this video. I've actually had this thing for over a year. I've never had to use it, knock on wood, but I figured this would be a good time to kind of show you how it works and give you those 2 little bits of advice if you do end up purchasing something like this. The other option is, like I said, you can just get a piece of wood, cut it so there's an angle, you know, and just carry like a big old block of wood with you. But with the price of wood now, this kind of ends up being cheaper, and then you don't have to do any labor. So it does save, I believe, it has a lifetime warranty as well. So this is what the bottom looks like. You know, you can kind of see they've got these bolts here. I think this is to help grip the ground, so when you're driving up, this doesn't kick back. It kind of bites into the asphalt or into the cement. And then they make these two little holes. This is supposed to be like a carrying handle, so you just pick it up and you can carry it. It feels like it weighs like maybe, I don't know, 7 pounds or 8 pounds or something. So okay, let's cut to the other video and show you how to use it. The stopper makes a big difference. Spin this guy, take your tire off. Trailer aid. Okay, so this is the trailer aid. You can see it all set up. It's on my rear axle. I reversed up it, and as you can see, my front axle is completely suspended. So you can see it's off the ground. So it does get the job, it does lift it up. You don't have to deal with jacks. You don't have to deal with, like, you know, if you're in an uneven area on the side of the road. You know, it's up about almost 3 fingers. It's about 1.5 inches. Inch and a half, let me say about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So it did its job. My only complaint with this is, so when I did this the first time, you know, the rubber pad for the tire is kind of small, and if you overshoot it, what ends up happening is the trailer tire goes back down, back in the back, and then you've just run it over and went reversed over the whole thing. Your trailer kind of comes down kind of hard, and then what ends up happening is this device gets stuck between these two tires because it, you know. So what I did, my solution, I mean, I'd prefer if they made this thing longer, you know, so you had more room for error, so to speak, you know, so that way it's not so tight. It helps if you have somebody spotting you, you know, telling you, okay, a couple inches or whatever, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. But my advice is, especially if you're by yourself and you don't have somebody to spot, is I carry a spare piece of wood right here, and it acts like a stopper. So you can see how it wedges like that. So when I'm going up this, and before I get too far, this is kind of like the point of no return, and then it goes back down, and then you're stuck between the two, and then you got to drive over it again. But basically, I've got this wedged piece of wood as a stopper, so it kind of stops the tire from rolling back any further, and that's exactly what it did. It's on there. So yeah, that's my advice. If they made this thing longer, it would be perfect, so that way it's not such a tight little cradle for the tire. But it does fit it, it does lift it up, but I wish they just made it longer, or they had some sort of a stopper or something so it wouldn't just run over and overshoot. Let me get a different angle here. You can see I'm on there pretty good. It does contain majority of the tire. Let's see from here. There you go, I'm on there. They say this thing is rated I think up to something like 15,000 pounds. So, but yeah, it's a fast, easy way to jack up your trailer. Maybe you got to change your tire, you got to service your bearings or something, change your brakes. And it's called the Trailer Aid.